Welcome to Math with Mrs. Bibb. Today we will be discussing polynomial division. To divide a polynomial by a monomial, you find the quotient of each term of the polynomial and the monomial. Our first example that we'll do is the trinomial 8x cubed plus 5x minus 3 divided by 2x squared. So we are going to find the quotient of each term of the polynomial and the monomial. So I'm going to write 8x cubed divided by 2x squared plus 5x divided by 2x squared minus 3 divided by 2x squared. That's the first thing you do when you are dividing by a monomial. 8x cubed divided by 2x squared plus 5x divided by 2x squared minus 3 divided by 2x squared. And then you simplify if possible. 8x cubed divided by 2x squared is 4. My exponent of my variable is largest in the numerator, so I'll subtract from there. X to the 3 minus 2 is x to the first power, plus 5 divided by 2 I cannot do, so I'm going to leave it as 5 over 2. X divided by x squared would leave an x in the denominator to the first power because I subtract 2 minus 1. When you are dividing, you subtract your exponents, and I subtract from where it's the largest, so 2 minus 1, that goes here. And the last one, negative 3 divided by 2x squared cannot be simplified. So this is my answer to dividing the trinomial 8x cubed plus 5x minus 3 by the monomial 2x squared. Now I'll go on to the second example, 12x cubed plus 8x squared plus 40x. So that trinomial divided by 4x. I'm going to divide each term of the polynomial by the monomial in the denominator, by the divisor. 8x squared divided by 4x, and then 40x divided by 4x. Now I'm actually going to divide. 12x cubed divided by 4x is 3x squared. My exponent is largest in the numerator. I'll subtract from there and it'll stay there. 3 minus 1 is 2. Over here I'll get 2. 2 minus 1 is x to the first power. Then here I'll get 10. 1 minus 1, my x's go away. So the second term plus 8 divided by 4 is 2x. And my last term plus 10. So the quotient of 12x cubed plus 8x squared plus 40x divided by 4x is the trinomial 3x squared plus 2x plus 10. And then number 3 is, it looks like this. Hope I can write small enough. Let me grab a smaller pen. It is 24a to the 4th b cubed plus 18a squared b squared minus 30ab cubed times, which is going to sound weird, I'm going to put that up here, so hopefully you'll continue it and put it on the same line. 6 times a times b to the negative 1 power. But I thought we were dividing. Well, remember, when you have a negative exponent, this negative exponent would move to the denominator, so I'm going to rewrite that. This is going to be 24 a to the 4th, b to the 3rd, plus 18 a to the 2nd, b to the 2nd, minus 30 a times b to the 3rd, divided by 6ab. And we will divide each term by 6ab And then we will write the answers. Minus 30 AB cubed divided by 6AB. Now let's find those answers. 24 divided by 6 is 4. A to the fourth divided by A is A to the third. B to the third divided by B is B to the second. Remember, just quickly, 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2, subtracting exponents. 18 divided by 6 is positive 3. A squared divided by A is A to the first power. B squared divided by B is B to the first power. Minus 30 divided by 6 is 5. A divided by A goes away because it's 0. B cubed divided by B is B to the second power. So the quotient of 24a to the fourth b cubed plus 18a squared b squared minus 30ab cubed divided by 6ab is the trinomial 4a cubed b squared plus 3ab minus 5b squared. Next, we're going to be dividing a polynomial by a polynomial. You do not use these ways when you have a monomial. When you're dividing by a monomial, you do not do this. So please just remember that you do not do this when you are dividing by a monomial. You do what we just did. Two ways to do this are long division and synthetic division. And your final answer should be written in the form quotient plus remainder over divisor. And here I have written out like the fancy terminology. If you take a function f of x and divide it by g of x, you get the quotient. And the quotient is f of x is equal to the quotient times g of x. I'll show you a simple problem like that, example like that, so that you can understand what that means. And then this is what I'm talking about, how to write your final answer. The quotient, this means quotient, oh no, this means quotient, so sorry. The quotient of remainder over divisor. Your divisor is that bottom number, g of x. Now let me show you really quickly an example of long division. Synthetic is a little bit different. So I'm going to do 31 divided by 2. So to rewrite that in long division form, 2 divided into 31. And when you do long division, even when we did long division back when you were small, hopefully you did this process. If you did not, then you'll see this process now. The first step that you do when doing long division is divide. Divide 2 into 3. How many times will 2 go into 3? So your first step is divide. And hopefully you know that answer is 1. And you put that answer above the 3 in the problem. The second step you do is multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. So multiply. The next step you do is subtract. Subtract 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. And then the next step you do is bring down. Bring down the next number. And you know you're finished. This will be my last round because I do not have anything else to bring down. And now we start back over again. Step 1, divide. 2 divided into 11. That goes 5 times. Then multiply. 5 times 2 is 10. And so I'm so sorry it's so small. I think I'm going to have to erase a little bit and write just a little smaller. So that's 10. And subtract. When you subtract, you get 1. And then, remember, when you did this, it's quotient plus remainder, which of my remainder is 1, over divisor. And this number here is the divisor. This is the divisor. Please make sure you have this on your paper. It's so important that you know this. This is the dividend. And this is the quotient. plus the remainder. I should say that. Quotient plus the remainder. Now, when we were in our middle school grades, we did not write that as 15 plus 1/2. 15 plus 1/2 is 15 and 1/2. But when you have a polynomial, then you have to actually write it as this process, 15 plus 1/2, quotient plus remainder over divisor. On to discussing synthetic division, and I hope on your paper I have left more room than what I did here for long division and synthetic division steps. So I'm sorry if I forget, but I'm hoping that I don't forget. Okay, so to do synthetic division, first of all, your divisor must be linear, which means its largest exponent is 1, with a leading coefficient of 1. If it is not, you may not use synthetic division. You have to use long division. So this is the difference between the two. You have to have a linear divisor with a leading coefficient of 1. Then after that, once you have ensured that is true, you're going to set up the problem, and I'll show you that on the next problem. So you set it up correctly. Then you bring down the first number, you multiply. This is going to seem very vague until we do some examples. You multiply, then you add until the end. And that sounds so very vague. I'm so sorry that the steps aren't very, very good, but I will try my best to make sure to explain that. Now let's go on to the next example. We are going to find the quotient, and we're going to do this with long division and with synthetic division. So I'll use long division here. Probably should give myself more space, but it'll be okay. And then synthetic division here. My problem is x squared minus 5x minus 36. X squared minus 5x minus 36. That is my dividend, divided by x plus 4. That is my divisor. Okay, I am going to set this up so your divisor goes on the outside, and then your dividend goes on the inside. And I'm going to write out the steps up here, the work, not the actual words. So here's my steps. The first thing that I do is divide. Divide the first term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor. So I'm going to divide x squared, this is step 1, x squared divided by x, and my answer is x. And then I put that answer above its like term in the problem. So I'm going to put it above minus 5x. Step 2 is multiply. I'm going to multiply what I just put on top of the problem with the divisor. So I'm going to multiply x times x plus 4. And I'm going to distribute. That would give me x squared plus 4x. Step 3, I'm going to subtract. And I don't write anything up there. I'm going to subtract these two. One thing I want to remind you of, you're subtracting a binomial and a binomial. So if you want to make this plus and change both of these signs, that may help you. So if you want to make this a plus sign and make this negative x squared and minus 4x, please do that. I'm just going to actually subtract. So if it helps you to make it a plus, go right ahead. So I'm going to discuss the subtracting. X squared minus x squared goes away. negative 5x minus 4x is negative 9x. And this is the spot right here where most students make a mistake in long division problems, is this spot here. And once you make a mistake here, it spirals out of control and messes up the whole problem. So I'm going to bring down, that's my fourth step, bring down the next term. Then I'm going to do those steps again. So I'm so glad that I did leave myself space up here. I won't need space for long division, for synthetic division for that. We don't have to show steps anywhere. But it's so good. Since I started doing this, showing the steps for students, they seem to understand how to do long division. So I'm now going to divide. I'm back to step 1. I'm going to divide the first term of the new dividend with the first term of the divisor. So I'm going to divide negative 9x with x. And when I divide that, I get negative 9. And I put negative 9 above its like term in the problem. And then I multiply. Step 2, multiply negative 9. So you always multiply by the answer you just got. And I'll go back in just a second and do that. Negative 9 times the divisor, x plus 4. So it's the answer that you got, what you put above, what you put up here with the divisor. You multiply those two. Negative 9 times x plus 4. Then you distribute. And you don't have to actually put the answer there. We can put the distribution down here where it belongs. Negative 9x minus 36. Then step 3 is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract those two polynomials. Again, if you want to make this addition and change both of these signs, you are welcome to do that. I just normally just subtract. Negative 9x minus negative 9x is 0. Negative 36 minus negative 36 is 0. So I do not have a remainder. My quotient is x minus 9. This is the quotient. Now let's look at synthetic division. Check your divisor first of all. Is your divisor linear? Yes, it's to the first power. Does it have a coefficient of 1? Yes. And actually when I said something about having, if it can, as long as it's linear, you can do this. But if it has a coefficient other than 1, you have to actually get rid of that. And I'll show you that later on in the video. So I can do synthetic division with this problem. So here's how you set up the synthetic division. I put a little backwards L, and then I'm going to put a number here, and I'll tell you what that number is in just a moment. Then I'm going to put the coefficients of the divisor here. So we're going to put a number here. It comes from the divide. I think I just messed that up. I'm going to put a number here. It comes from the divisor, and then from here is the coefficients of the dividend. So please forgive me. I did say divisor, I'm pretty sure on that when I first said that. But this, the coefficient and the constant of the dividend go here. All right. You look at this number. The number I'm going to put down there is the opposite of this. So I'm going to put negative 4 here. Then I'm going to put 1, because it's 1x squared, minus 5x, minus 36. So when you do synthetic division, your variables are not actually in the work of the problem. Then you leave yourself a line and draw a line. Then I'm going to put a vertical bar here. The reason why I do that, the remainder will be here, the quotient will be here. If you have 0 there, that means you have no remainder. Now, the quotient we'll have to do a little bit of work on to actually get the answer. Okay, so I had written down that the first thing you do is bring down the first number. So bring down 1. So that's the first thing you do. Then multiply the number you brought down with the divisor, 1 times negative 4. And you put that answer here. So let me see if I can grab a different color and make that work. So you multiply these two and put the answer here. So negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. Then you add. Negative 5 plus negative 4 is negative 9. And then you multiply. You multiply negative 9 with negative 4. You do not have to draw those arrows, but the colors might help. And so you multiply those and put a little dot there, and you put the answer here. Negative 4 times negative 9 is positive 36. Then you add. Negative 36 plus 36 is 0. And so I did get a remainder of 0. Now, to write my answer, here is what I do. I have to think about, if I were doing division with a monomial, I would divide x squared with x. What would that answer be when you divide x squared with x? Well, that answer is x. So your degree is reduced by 1 when you divide. So the variable x is going to go here, x to the first power, and then this would be x to the 0 power, which I'm going to get rid of because you don't need x to the 0 power. And then I'm at the end. I don't have any more numbers in order to do x. X to the 0 power is it. So my final answer is going to be 1x, so 1x minus 9. That's the quotient. That's how you do it with synthetic division. Let's go on to example 2. Okay, example 2. It looks like this. 3z cubed minus 14z squared minus 7z plus 3 divided by z minus 5. And I'll do long division here. And synthetic division here. Okay, so let's set it up for long division. The divisor is z minus 5. The dividend is 3z cubed minus 14z squared minus 7z plus 3. And I just remembered something that we need to talk about. And you may want to go back and add it at the beginning when I talked about long division and synthetic division. It's essential that every exponent is represented in the dividend. If you start with the third power, you have to have the second power, and you have to have the first power, and you should have a constant. Now, I think sometimes you can get away without having that constant, but I normally add it in just so to make sure. So this problem we're good. We have in the dividend, we have to the third power, second power, first power, and we have a constant. So we're good there. But there will come a time that we do not have that in the problems that we're doing. So just remember, you have to have every exponent represented in the dividend. Okay, now let's go to step 1. I don't require students to put the steps over here. In your notes, you should have them, because then that'll help you if you have to look back on how to do these. You should have your notes. But if you fully understand the steps, I don't require that students write them over here. But you know you fully understand it if you can actually do the process of long division. So if you're confused and get lost, do these steps over here. I promise it will help you. I promise. Okay. Step 1. You divide the first term of the dividend with the first term of the divisor. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to do 3z cubed divided by z. And that would be 3z squared. That answer goes above its like term. So positive 3z squared. Then the next thing you do, you multiply. You multiply the number you just put up top with the divisor. So that's what I'm doing. The number you put up top, multiply with the divisor. Another way you can think about it is take this number and use it in step 2. So step 2, the answer we just got multiplied by the divisor. I'm going to put the product underneath their like terms. 3z squared times z is 3z cubed. I'm going to put that answer here. And 3z squared times negative 5 is negative 15z squared. I'm going to put that answer here. So 3z cubed minus 15z squared. And now I'm going to subtract. Again, I'll reiterate, you absolutely may make this a plus sign, make this the opposite, and make this the opposite. It may help you to add instead of subtracting. I just subtract. So whichever is good for you is fine with me. 3z cubed minus 3z cubed goes away. Negative 14z squared minus negative 15z squared is positive 1z squared. Then bring down the next one. And I'm not going to write that step over there. Your third step is bring down. Oh, whoops, I was wrong. Your third step was subtract, and I did that already. Sorry, I forgot to mention it. I normally don't write step 3 and step 4 over here. Your third step is to subtract, and then your fourth step is to bring down. And then you start back over with step 1. Step 1, you divide. You divide your new first term of your new divisor with the first term of, scratch that, your new dividend with the first term of your divisor. Sorry about that. And so I'm going to do z squared divided by z, and that answer is z. You place that answer above its like term. Do that next. Don't do anything else. Do this next. So you put positive 1z above 7z, negative 7z. Then the next thing you do is multiply. Multiply this answer, this answer that we just got, this answer, with the divisor. So let's do that. Let's multiply. Let me highlight that really quickly. This answer we're going to multiply z times z minus 5. We're going to put the product of this beneath its like terms. Z times z is z squared. Z times negative 5 is negative 5z. Now, we will do step 3, which is subtract. Again, I will reiterate, and you'll probably get tired of hearing me say this, but it will sink in. You may make this plus and change both of these signs. If it's easier for you to see addition and combine like terms so you don't make a mistake here, please do, because this is the number one spot that students make mistakes. So be very careful. If you think you'll be prone to doing that, then make this plus, change both of these signs. Okay, so I'm going to subtract. Z squared minus z squared goes away. Negative 7z minus negative 5z is negative 2z. So that was step 3. Step 4, bring down the next one. Bring down plus 3. And start back over with step 1. And I know this is my last round because I don't have anything else to bring down. So step 1, my new dividend is negative 2z. Divide it by the first term of the divisor. So that's what I'm going to do. Step 1, negative 2z divided by z. My divisor starts with z, so z is what I divide by, equals negative 2. Then that answer goes above its like term. So positive 3 is its like term, negative 2. Then step 2 is to multiply. Multiply this number by the divisor. So multiply the answer that you just got, negative 2, with the divisor. So negative 2 times x minus 5. And I'm going to put that answer underneath its like terms. So negative 2 times x goes here. Oh, it should be z. Oopsie. Sorry about that. I'll change that. So negative 2 times z is negative 2z. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. So it looks like I'm going to have a remainder. So this is a z. So negative 2 times z is negative 2z. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Now I'm going to subtract. That's step 3. I won't say it again. So I'm going to subtract negative 2z minus negative 2z. That goes away. Then 3 minus 10 is negative 7. That is my remainder. So my final answer, I'm going to write it across the top, then write it bigger at the bottom. So this is a negative, so I'm going to put minus remainder of 7 over divisor, x minus 5. So that not x, it's z. I'm so sorry. I can't see it. My little pen menu is over top of my variable, and I just keep saying x. I apologize for that. So my final answer is 3z squared plus z minus 2 minus, because my remainder was negative, 7 divided by z minus 5. This is the answer. And that should be the answer I get when I do synthetic division. Okay, let's set it up. Synthetic division. Remember, you take the opposite of your divisor, the opposite of the constant in your divisor. So the opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. You put that here. Let's do that. Positive 5, because you're doing the opposite of this. Then the next thing you do is take every coefficient and put it in a straight line beside of that 5. So coefficient of 3, 3z cubed, minus 14z squared, minus 7 plus 3. Then you skip a line. So here is a blank line to put numbers. And then you put a vertical bar here to separate the quotient from the remainder. So quotient on the left side of that vertical bar, remainder on the right side. Then this is the one thing that students forget, because they understand to multiply and all that stuff. Students forget to bring down the first number. So that's the first thing you do. I draw an arrow just so I can remember. Bring down 3. Then you multiply. You multiply 3 times 5. And you put that answer here. 3 times 5 is 15. Then you add these two together. Negative 14 plus 15 is positive 1. Then you multiply. You multiply this answer we just got by the divisor number. So 1 times 5, and you put that answer here. And if it's cleaner for you to not put all those different colors, I totally understand. You do not have to put all those different colors. 1 times 5 is 5. Then you add. You add negative 7 and 5, and you get negative 2. Then you multiply. Multiply that new number you got by the divisor. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10, and you put that answer here. So negative 10, and then you add, and you get negative 7. And hopefully you can see we got the same answer. We definitely did get the same answer as what we had over there. Let's go discuss how you put it in that form. So I am going to realize that I'm dividing a cube by a linear. Cube divided by first power. Z cubed divided by z is z to the second power, which means that your leading coefficient is with the variable that has a degree of 2 to the second power. So this would get z to the second power, and then you go in descending order. Z to the second, z to the first, z to the 0, which I'm going to undo that, which means it's 1. You get rid of that. And then your remainder. So my final answer, 3z squared plus 1z minus 2 minus remainder over divisor. Okay, so there's that example done. Next example. I am going to find the quotient of, sorry, it's in the textbook, so I just want to make sure. 4x to the fourth minus 37x squared plus 4x plus 9 divided by 2x minus 1. Okay, I'm going to do long division here. And then I will do synthetic division over here. I don't need as much space for synthetic division. Okay. Long division, let's set it up. 2x minus 1 divided into 4x to the fourth. And did you notice I have x to the fourth? I do not have x to the third. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to show you how. I have x to the second, I have x to the first, and I have a constant. So how you put it in there is you add 0x to the third. And I caught my mistake. I actually had got a pretty good distance on this problem and then saw that I put to the third power here and not to the fourth power. But thankfully I caught it and I can carry on now. So 4x to the fourth plus 0x to the third minus 37x to the second plus 4x plus 9. And now I'm going to do my steps. Step 1, I'm going to divide the first term of the dividend, 4x to the fourth, by the first term of the divisor. And so 4x to the fourth divided by 2x is 2x cubed. That goes above its like term, 2x cubed. And then I'm going to take the answer that I just got and multiply it by the divisor. 2x cubed times 2x minus 1. And that answer is 4x squared minus 2x cubed. No, it's not. So sorry. 4x cubed minus 2x cubed. And now I subtract. And I wrote cubed again, didn't I? My goodness gracious. Sorry about that. So 4x to the fourth minus 4x to the fourth, that goes away. 0x cubed minus negative 2x cubed is positive 2x cubed. Now bring down the next one, minus 37x squared. Back to step 1. Step 1, divide the first term of my new dividend by the first term of the divisor. And that answer is going to be x squared, positive x squared. Positive x squared. Put that answer above its like term. Step 2, multiply the answer you just got with the divisor. So x squared times 2x minus 1. X squared times 2x is 2x cubed. X squared times negative 1 is negative x squared. Subtract. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is 0. Negative 37x squared minus negative x squared is negative 36x squared. Bring down. Start the steps back over. Back to step 1. Divide the first term of the new dividend by the first term of the divisor. So that's negative 18x. Negative 18x. Then you multiply negative 18x times the divisor. That would be negative 36x squared plus 18x. Then you subtract. Negative 36x squared minus negative 36x squared is 0. 4x minus 18x is negative 14x. Then finally bring down plus 9. And last round, step 1, divide the new dividend by the first term of the divisor. The first term of the new dividend by the first term of the divisor. And that answer is -7. Then you multiply. You multiply that answer by the divisor. So -7 times 2x minus 1, which would be -14x plus 7. Then you subtract. -14x minus -14x is 0. 9 minus 7 is 2. So that's my remainder. It's a +2 over the divisor. I'm going to write out that answer bigger. 2x cubed, my quotient is 2x cubed, plus x squared, minus 18x, minus 7, that's the quotient, plus the remainder over the divisor. And that's the answer to that one. Now, do you notice that for this next question, a is not 1. It is linear, but a is not 1. So I have to divide everything by 2 to make it acceptable for synthetic division. I have to divide every single thing by 2, including that 0x cubed. So don't forget we have to include that in our dividend. So I'm dividing everything by 2. Okay, let's write out the new one. So I have 2x to the 4th plus 0x to the 3rd minus 37 over 2x to the 2nd plus 2x plus 9 over 2 divided by x minus 1/2. That's what I have. Okay, so now I am going to set up my synthetic division. So the opposite of this, positive 1/2 goes here, and then bring down the coefficients of the dividend. 2, 0, -37 over 2, 2, and 9 over 2. And now I'm going to leave a space, put a vertical bar, bring down this first one. I'm not going to do all that circling. Bring down the first one, so I've got 2. Then I multiply 2 times 1/2 and put that answer here. 2 times 1/2 is 1, so I'm going to put 1 here. Then I add, 0 plus 1 is 1. Then I multiply 1 times 1/2, and I'll put that answer here. 1 times 1/2 is 1/2. Then I add them together. -37 over 2 plus 1 over 2 is -36 over 2, which is -18. So if you need to write that out, -37 over 2 plus 1 over 2 is -36 over 2, which is -18. And now I multiply -18 times 1/2. -18 times 1/2 is -9. Then I put that answer here. -9 goes here. Oops, I put it in the wrong spot. Sorry about that. Then I add. 2 plus -9 is -7. And now I multiply. -7 times 1/2. -7 times 1/2 is -7 over 2, which is, when I add these together, I get 2 over 2, which is 1, which is just a little bit different from what we got over here. We got 2 over 2x minus 1. Watch the way we write our divisor, and then we can edit that and see how it actually works. But the rest of it, we got the exact same quotient. Let's go work on that. Remember, you're going to divide x to the 4th by x, and that gives you x to the 3rd. And then x to the 2nd would go here. Then x to the 1st, and then no x. So my answer, my quotient, 2x cubed plus x squared minus 18x minus 7 plus, because I have a positive, 1 over my new divisor, x minus 1/2. Now, if you want to write that new divisor, or write that remainder the way the other one is written, then we can multiply this by 2 over 2, which is technically multiplying it by 1, which doesn't really change the value. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's multiply that. So I have 2x cubed plus x minus 18x minus 7 plus 2 times 1 is 2 over 2 times x minus 1/2 is 2x minus 1. So we actually did get that answer. You absolutely may leave this as your answer, of course without that yellow 2 over 2. You absolutely may use that as your answer since we use synthetic division. But if you encounter a multiple choice question where it asks you for the quotient plus the remainder over divisor, and all your divisors are 2x minus 1, that's how you make it look like the correct one. Okay, the next example, I'm going to write it down, then I want you to try it. We'll go over it in class. I promise I'll remember, because I'll print these and then we'll go over it in class. So I'm just going to write down long division, synthetic division, and put that problem up there like I've been doing on the previous slides. So your problem is 3x cubed minus 2x squared minus 53x minus 60 times the quantity x plus 3 to the negative 1 power. And remember, negative 1 power means it goes to the denominator and changes to x plus 3. So x plus 3 is your divisor and this is your dividend. So if you'll give both of those a try, and it doesn't matter if you get them incorrect, we'll go over them. I'll do them with you in class. We'll do example 4 together in class, long division and synthetic division. And I have one more example. This example, example 5, it looks just a little bit different. It is, 8x cubed minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 4 divided by x squared minus 2x plus 1. As we look at this example, I want you to analyze your divisor. When we look at this divisor, remember at the beginning of talking about polynomial division, in order to use synthetic division, your divisor must meet certain conditions. And those conditions, if you'll recall, and please do write them down just so that you'll have them again and you can put them in your brain. In order to have the ability to use synthetic division, your divisor must be, so this all depends on your divisor, must be a linear divisor. That means it has a degree of 1. Then, after it meets that condition, it has to have a leading coefficient of 1. So your divisor has to be linear, and then it has to have a leading coefficient of 1. As long as your divisor is linear, if your leading coefficient is any other number besides 1, you can still use synthetic division. You just have to divide every single term in the dividend and the divisor by that coefficient to make it 1. So the only way you cannot use synthetic division, period, is if your divisor is not linear and has a degree other than 1. So when I look at this particular problem, my divisor is not linear, it's quadratic. So I cannot use synthetic division for example 5. I'll set up my long division. X squared minus 2x plus 1 is my divisor. Goes on the outside. Check my dividend. 3, 2, 1, constant. So my dividend is okay. 8x cubed minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 4. And then I'll write my steps here. Step 1, divide your first term of your dividend by the first term of your divisor. So 8x cubed divided by x squared. And that is 8 divided by 1 is 8. X cubed divided by x squared is x. You put that answer above its like term. So 8x goes here. Step 2, you multiply. You multiply the answer that you just got, so 8x, by the divisor. And remember, you bring this down here and you multiply it by the divisor. Distribute. 8x times x squared is 8x cubed. 8x times negative 2x is negative 16x. 8x times 1 is positive 8x. Oh, and you don't have to write those answers there. Put them under their like terms. And I left off my square. 8x cubed minus 16x squared plus 8x, then subtract. And again, if you want to write this as addition and change every one of these signs, you are welcome to do that. I just subtract. 8x cubed minus 8x cubed goes away. Negative 4x squared minus negative 16x squared is 12x squared. 3x minus 8x is negative 5x. And then bring down minus 4. That's your step 4. And then start your steps again. Back to step 1. Divide your first term of your new dividend by the first term of the divisor. So 12x squared divided by x squared. That answer is 12. Put that answer above its like term. Positive 12 goes above negative 4. Multiply positive 12 times the divisor. I'll do that over here. Positive 12 times x squared minus 2x plus 1. Distribute your 12 and put your answer under its like terms in the problem. So 12 times x squared is 12x squared. 12 times negative 2x is negative 24x. 12 times 1 is positive 12. Now subtract. 12x squared minus 12x squared goes away. Negative 5x minus negative 24x is positive 19x. Negative 4 minus 12 is negative 16. And that is my remainder. You know you're finished because when you analyze this, the degree of this exponent, or this polynomial, this exponent here, is less than this one. That's how you know you cannot divide anymore. So I'm going to put plus because I have a polynomial. You just put plus, you don't put minus because both of these are not negative. But you put plus remainder, 19x minus 16 over divisor, x squared minus 2x plus 1. That is my answer to that particular problem. I hope you have a wonderful day.